Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and it is a brand new year. It's 2023, and this is my first deck tech of the new year. I'm pretty stoked about it. I got a lot coming. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm really stoked about that. This deck in particular is called ICONOCULT, and it focuses around combining third path Iconoclast with Oni-Cult Anvil and going just crazy wide with artifacts and then using things that can take advantage of that. So before we head into the deck, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share this. We've been trying our hardest to defeat the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Please help us. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to do a 24-hour marathon stream where you can challenge me to games on stream. Every time you beat me, I crack a pack on stream, and then I mail you those cards. So you could build up quite a collection just challenging me to games over the course of 24 hours. And honestly, towards the end of that stream, I'm probably going to be so tired I'm going to lose every game. So anyway, make sure you subscribe. Let's get to the deck. So the entire premise of ICONOCULT is to go as wide as possible with artifact creature tokens, and we do that with the combination of two very specific cards. First up, we have Third Path Iconoclast. Now this is a 2/1 for 1 red and 1 blue. It's a human monk. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. So you can just keep making 1/1s as long as you're casting any non-creature spell, and it doesn't have to be like an instant or a sorcery. It can be anything that isn't a creature. But what's important about these 1/1s is that they're also artifact creatures, so they count as artifacts. And there's a lot of stuff in this deck that cares about how many artifacts we make. So the idea is if we compare Third Path Iconoclast with Oni-Cult Anvil, we can go extra wide. Now, Oni-Cult Anvil's been around for a little while. This is an artifact for 1 red and 1 black. Whenever one or more artifacts you control leave the battlefield during your turn, you create a 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature token. So again, you're making more 1/1 artifact creature tokens with Oni-Cult Anvil in conjunction with the Third Path Iconoclast. The Anvil's ability can only trigger once a turn, but it also has another ability built in where you can tap it, sacrifice an artifact to drain your opponent for 1. So it's also a cool sack outlet for our artifact creature tokens. So if we're gaining 1 every turn from Oni-Cult Anvil, and we're also gaining 1 every time we cast a non-creature spell, we can go super wide because most of the deck is just non-creature spells and artifacts that we can sack to the anvil. What's cool too is if you get the Third Path Iconoclast down first, when you play the Oni-Cult Anvil, it will trigger the Iconoclast itself and give you a token right away. And then if you want, you can actually sacrifice that token to the anvil to make another token and drain. Or if you can find a better artifact to sack, you can do that as well. Now, we're going to start at the bottom of the curve here. In our 1-drop slots, we mostly have card advantage machines. So we have Mishra's Research Desk for 1 mana. This is an artifact. We can pay 1, tap it, sack it, exile the top 2 cards of our library, pick one of them, and then until the end of our next turn, we can play that card. Has Unearth for 1 red and 1, so we can use it a second time from the graveyard to get a lot of not only card advantage off this, but also card selection because we're getting the best of the top 2 each time we use it. But what's also important about this card is that when we sacrifice it to use the ability, that sacrifice will actually trigger the Oni-Cult Anvil and get us a 1/1 without us having to sacrifice one of our creatures in order to do it. So we can actually start to go wider with our creatures instead of having to sack a creature itself to the anvil in order to generate a new creature. Our other card advantage card here is Experimental Synthesizer for 1 red. This is an artifact. When it enters, you get to exile the top card of your library, and until the end of your turn, you can play that card. So it's card advantage. Also, when it leaves the battlefield, you get to do that, and you don't have to actually activate its own ability in order to get that extra card advantage. So you can sacrifice the Experimental Synthesizer to an Oni-Cult Anvil and make a 1/1, and then also exile the top card of your library and be able to play it. Some really cool synergy. You can sacrifice it to some other stuff that we'll talk about later on as well. Or if you really need an extra body, you can pay the 3 mana and sacrifice it to its own ability to make a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance, and then also still get that ability of when the synthesizer leaves the battlefield, you get to exile the top card and play it. So between these 4 and the 4 Mishra's Research Desk, we have a ton of card advantage, and both of them being artifacts that are going to trigger our Iconoclast when they come into play, or our Anvil when they leave, is super crucial and can help us go really wide. In our removal suite, we've got 3 copies of Voltage Surge. Now, this is 1 red mana for an instant. We'll deal 2 damage to whatever creature or planeswalker we want. We can also sacrifice an artifact to deal 4 damage instead. And that's cool because it's another way to sacrifice one of our artifacts to trigger the Oni-Cult Anvil and get a 1/1 off of it. When we play it, it will trigger the 3rd Path Iconoclast because it's a non-creature and give us another one. But then also it's an auxiliary way of sacrificing something like Experimental Synthesizer to trigger exiling the top card to play with only spending 1 mana. So if we really need to save our mana to potentially play that top card, whatever it might be when it gets exiled, sometimes we're not going to be able to afford to spend the 3 mana for the built-in ability on the synthesizer itself. So the Voltage Surge gives us a way to sack it for only 1 mana, so we have mana left over to play whatever we end up exiling. In addition to the Voltage Surges, we have 4 Yotia Declares War in our removal suite. Now this is a saga for 1 red and 1. It's one of my favorite cards from Dominaria, and I think it's really cool. So on chapter 1, we can create an O2 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. So again, it adds to our artifact count. It's also a non-creature since it's a saga, so it'll trigger our Iconoclast. On chapter 2, we get to tap as many artifacts as we want and deal damage to any target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of artifacts that we tap. Since this deck is going so wide with artifacts, we can pretty much kill any creature with chapter 2. So having this be able to kill any creature or planeswalker while also having 2 other modes built in of extra card advantage is very, very good and probably the prime piece of removal for this deck. At chapter 3, we get to turn any one of our artifacts into a 4/4 artifact creature, and that can be cool with the Ornithopters because they can get in for 4 damage with evasion because they have flying. It's also a cool way to make our Weatherlight turn into a creature without having to wait for it to get to 4 Phyresis counters. We'll get to more of that later. Also in the 2-drop slot, we have 3 high-speed hover bikes. I haven't seen anybody use this card ever, but it works really well in this deck. It's another artifact that contributes to the field, so we can use it for all of the things that care about artifacts. But it's also something that's going to trigger the Iconoclast when we play it and make us another 1/1. We can sack it to the Anvil to make a 1/1 and to drain. But also, it's a way that we can flash an artifact in on our opponent's turn and really surprise them. A lot of times they can attack thinking we don't have really good blocks, and if we have an Iconoclast into play, we can flash in the hover bike, tap their best creature, while also making a 1/1 off of the Iconoclast, and then being able to use that 1/1 itself to crew the hover bike if we want, or probably more likely using the Iconoclast itself to crew the hover bike, because we're not going to want to block with the Iconoclast and have it die. It's too valuable. And then we can block and trade with something with the hover bike and also have the 1/1 to block with. So it can do a lot of work. It can come in very surprising ways and generate a lot of value on our side and contribute to all of the synergies we're already doing. So I think the hover bike is actually pretty decent. It's also a way to get in with evasive damage every turn just by crewing it with one of our 1/1 tokens, and we're going to have plenty of them. So if we're just doing all of the things that the deck normally does to survive, but then on the side we're able to just swing in for 2 flying every turn while also draining with anvils, that can get there pretty quickly. So the hover bike, I just feel like, adds a lot of different ways of synergizing with our deck that could very easily go unnoticed. We've also got 2 Diabolic Intent. What's cool about this card is for 2 mana we can search out any card we need, and we always have plenty of 1/1s to sacrifice to it for fodder. Between the Iconoclast and the Anvil and some of the other stuff, we've always got creatures that are very, very easy to sack, and sometimes we want a sack outlet anyway just to trigger our Oni-Cult Anvil. So being able to play this and grab whatever we want and not really losing much because we're so wide with 1/1 tokens anyway is pretty powerful. And speaking of being able to search up anything we want, we do have a suite of one-ofs, like silver bullet targets that we can grab in specific situations that I'll get to in just a minute. Moving on to the 3rd drop slot, we have 3 Fable of the Mirror Breakers. Now this is an obvious no-brainer. Again, because it's a saga, it's going to trigger our 3rd Path Iconoclast when it comes into play and make us another 1/1, which is pretty sick. On chapter 1, we'll get that 2/2 Goblin Shaman that when it swings, it makes us an artifact token. a treasure token. And that treasure is cool because in this deck in particular, we can use artifacts in different ways. So we can keep that treasure around and not even use it for mana, and maybe tap it to Chapter 2 of Yotia Declares War to ping something, or something like that. When we do use it for mana, just sacrificing it for mana is going to trigger our Oni-Cult Anvil and give us a 1/1, which is pretty cool. On Chapter 2, we get to discard some cards to draw some cards. This can be good if we need to just dig in to find land, or especially good if we have Mishra's Research Desk in our hand, because we can discard the research desk to draw into more cards, and then the Research Desk can still be used from our graveyard with Unearth. So that can be an especially good card to discard with Chapter 2. And then on Chapter 3, it obviously becomes Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, which can be pretty sick, because if we can start using Reflection of Kiki-Jiki to make copies of Third Path Iconoclast, then we're getting 2, 3, 4 1/1s every time we play a non-creature spell, and that could just stack up like crazy. So Fable of the Mirror Breakers, our 3-drop of choice. Moving on to our 1-drops, we have the obvious Saheeli Filigree Master. I could see adding more than one in here, but when we have the 2 Diabolic Intent, it just makes sense to me to just have the 1. All of our 1-ofs are basically like 3-ofs because of the 2 Diabolic Intents. And it feels really good to me. So this is a 3 loyalty Planeswalker for 4 mana. You can uptick to scry 1, and when doing so, you can tap one of your artifacts to draw a card as well. You can -2 to create 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying that also have haste. Again, going wide with tons of artifacts. And you can also -4 to get an emblem with artifact creatures you control get +1/+1, and artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Now, things costing less to cast isn't as important, although it can be useful. But if we can get to the point where we make an emblem, and honestly, it's a pretty cheap ultimate. 2 upticks, honestly, even just 1 uptick if we don't mind losing the Saheeli, but 2 upticks and then a downtick to make that emblem while keeping the Saheeli is pretty easy to do. And then all of a sudden, all of our 1/1s that we're making with the Iconoclast and the Anvil are 2/2s. And if we can manage to do it again and get to a second emblem, now they're all 3/3s. And that can get pretty insane. But even just making the 2 1/1 flyers and contributing to our board state off just the Saheeli itself can be pretty powerful. Also, in our as our 1-ofs that we can search up with Diabolic Intent, we have 1 Weatherlight Compleated, 2/2 Flying Vehicle. It becomes a creature when it has 4 or more Phyresis counters on it, and it gets Phyresis counter whenever one of our creatures dies. We'll also be able to scry 1 every time that happens, and then if we get to 7 Phyresis counters, we get to draw 1 whenever it happens. So this is really good because we're going so wide with creatures that this thing's just going to stack up Phyresis counters, get us lots of scries to get us closer to the key cards we need, start to draw us cards later in the game, and also be an extra win condition. The fact that we can search it out with Diabolic Intent is pretty good, and again, this is one of those cards that because it has flying on it, even though it isn't a creature, if we turn it into a creature with Chapter 3 of Yotia Declares War, it's going to be a 4/4 flyer and be able to swing in. So, pretty powerful in this deck. We've also got 1 Mechtitan Core, which is a little cute, but it's actually won us games. So this is a 2/4 vehicle for 2. And at any time we can pay 5 mana and exile 4 other artifact creatures or vehicles, and create Mechtitan, a 10/10 flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, haste. That's all colors. A lot of times our opponent doesn't see this coming, and it could just come out of nowhere. You know, we can exile hover bikes or the Weatherlight itself, but more importantly, all we need is 4 tokens, or maybe 3 tokens and a hover bike. And all of a sudden, this thing that no one sees coming because no one ever uses it and no one ever actually gets it to pop off, just very easily we pay 5 and boom, we're swinging in with haste for 10 damage, with trample, with vigilance so we still have a blocker, with flying so it's hard for them to blocking, and with lifelink so that even if they were being aggressive and getting us close to death, we just completely turn the game around, and that can be really powerful. So as a 1-of that we can search for with those Diabolic Intents, it's a really good alternate win condition. We've also got 1 Transmogrant's Crown. Now this is a 2-mana artifact. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, and whenever the equipped creature dies, we get to draw a card. We can equip it for 2, or we can equip it for just 1 black mana. We love seeing our first copy of this. We're able to constantly equip our 1/1 tokens and get value as we sacrifice them. We get to draw more cards. Very, very good. But with so many cards wanting to fit into this deck, it's really, really hard to make space for more than just one copy, which is why it's nice to have those 2 Diabolic Intents. It doesn't feel quite as bad having just the one, because if we really just want to start to go over the top, maybe we're playing against a control deck and we just really need the card advantage, we can just find the Transmogrant's Crown and just start to draw cards like crazy. And then our last one of is Eaten Alive. Now this one Eaten Alive is supposed to supplement the 3 Voltage Surges and the 4 Yotia Declares War as our removal suite. But sometimes we just need to exile something. And sometimes damage isn't going to do it. And in either of those situations, we can search out Eaten Alive and very easily just deal with any problematic creature or planeswalker we need to. And again, we have plenty of sacrifice fodder, so we can just sack something and pay the 1 pretty easily. Or later in the game, if we really don't want to sack something, we just pay the 5. So this is a pretty good just one of to kind of go with our 3 Voltage Surges as that last bit of removal for the deck that we can search up if we're in a pinch and we really need to deal with something in a very specific way. Other than that, it's just the mana base. We have 4 Xander's Lounge, 3 Haunted Ridge, 3 Stormcarved Coast, Stormcarved Coast, and 2 Shipwreck Marshes as our slow lands, and then we have 3 Sulfurous Springs, 3 Shivan Reef, and 2 Underground River as our pain lands, and then we have 1 Soaking, 1 Takenuma, and 1 Otawara. Now, the mana base is very carefully put together so that we have 11 sources that can come into play untapped on turn 2, which I think is the optimal amount to make sure that you're not playing a tap land on turn 2, and you can play a 2-drop on turn 2. Very important. So this is the deck. It goes super wide, and it has all these interesting alternate win conditions like Mechtitan Core and Weatherlight Compleated. It can do some really crazy stuff, but a lot of times it can also just drain our opponent out while going wide with a crazy board state of blockers, and just multiple anvils. So the deck gets pretty wild, and I had a lot of fun with it. You'll see in the games, we have some pretty crazy ones. We have one with a Mechtitan Core win, and I can't wait for you guys to see that. But let me know what you think. Let me know if there are any cards you think we should consider adding to this deck, because I feel like there's so many different ways this deck could go and so many options for things we could add to it. Really, the sky's the limit. So let me know in the comments below, and let's get to the games. Keep 7. We'll start with Haunted Ridge. Then we'll go Shivan Reef. He's probably got removal for the Iconoclast, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try. Fire. Out of red mana. It's not too bad. We'll go Fable. Try to trade the token for something. Trade the token for one of his boys. We just need to stem the bleeding long enough to stabilize. So we want to make some less than stellar trades here just to save ourselves some health. Should be devastated. Discard and draw and draw and discard and discard and draw. Haunted Ridge. Chapter 1, so that we can chump block. The Shivan Devastator. And drain for 1. That's fine. That's fine. Staying alive, staying alive. Kill the Wizard Blades. Play another Oni-Cult Anvil. A Yotia Declares War. Make some dudes. Alright, we should be, for the most part, safe. Do I need the reflection of Kiki-Jiki? I'm gonna do this because of prowess. If he prowesses, he kills my reflection, but he also doesn't get through for more damage. Still loses his Swift Spear. Oh, okay. I mean, he could have just done that to the dome, though, so... probably better. Kill that. We'll go... Synthesizer? Xander's Lounge. Another Anvil. I guess we will crack the synthesizer to the other anvil. Drain for 1. Play a research desk. And hope to God he doesn't have another shock. Does he have another shock? Oh, it gives +2/+2? I thought it gave +1/+1. Good God. Alright, Diabolic Intent. What can gain us some life and or kill a 3/3? Eaten alive could be good. high-speed hover bike could be good. Yeah, let's grab a high-speed hover bike. End turn. Sure. Tap down the Devastator. Pass to attackers. Kumano puts us at 1. Come on. It's time to drain. We'll put him at 10 and go up to 4. And then we should be in pretty good shape. Grab the research desk here. We'll crack it. That will trigger the anvils and give us 3 more 1/1s. Eaten alive looks wonderful. Past her. Well, he's out of... So many options here. I could go to 1 pretty easily. Do that. I'm at 3. He's gonna have more attackers next turn though. And that's gonna get tricky. Alright, we're gonna have to sack this hover bike. So we might as well swing with it. Make our 3 blockers. End the turn. Alright. We should be able to just kill him next turn. Unless he's got enough direct damage. He'd have to have a lightning strike specifically, though. We're up to 6, gets us to 3. He doesn't have mana for a lightning strike, so I think he's just dead. Ha ha! We got him. Always wild. Yes, I am the wildest. Alright. We'll lead with the Xander's Lounge. Sully, we need to hang out. I have a gift for you that's a year old. I know, I'm excited about it. You gotta come to my launch party for it. It'll be fun. It is very tasty. Well, we'll play the Oni-Cult Anvil. Does it get countered? Probably. We still get a 1-1. And we still get to swing for 2. Oh, we're gonna kill that. We're gonna kill that so hard. And make another 1-1 because of the Iconoclast. Boom. Shakalaka. Alright, first we'll swing 3. Then we'll go like this. Sack this guy. Make another one because we cast the non-creature spell. And then search for anything we want. And that anything is going to be an Oni-Cult Anvil. And then we're going to play the Oni-Cult Anvil. And make another one. And then we're going to use the Oni-Cult Anvil to sacrifice one of these. To drain for 1 and make another one. Oh yes. Good luck, blue. Boom, boom, boom. We'll make another one. Yes, you can highlight the cards while watching me. I got Cardboard Live, so that when people watch me stream, they can do that. This looks fine. It is weird that we're going to have to play our legendary lands right off the bat. Alright, Soakin's in. Play a research desk. So Third Path Iconoclast is super sick because whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a 1/1 soldier, but it's also an artifact. It's an artifact creature. So you can use it for artifact things, and you can use it for creature things, and you just get so many. Anointed Peacekeeper. Well, that ought to be fun. He's got hard decisions to make. Very hard decisions. Come on. Alright, he chose the hover bike.
It's on the reflexes.
Well, if that's the case, And we definitely Yotia Declares War. And then on chapter 2 next turn, we can kill the Peacekeeper. And then hold up Hoverbike to flash. Denick. No blocks.
Say we take off, look the side from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Boom. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, but I don't have sweepers in this deck. How about... bouncy, bouncy. And then we swing into. Although, to be honest, I don't know. I probably should have waited until his turn. And not swung in for 2. Because he's gonna crack back and gain life. I don't like that. It's okay, though. That's okay, though. Alright, we need to kill something, I believe. That's what we want to do. First, crew you. Then we voltage surge you, sack you. Let's see what he gets. Any flyers? See what he gets. Come on.
I'm not overconfident. You're just underwhelming.
Interesting. I'm gonna do it like that. If he exiles my 4/4, his Emperor dies. If he exiles my Hoverbike, he's still at one loyalty regardless. We get him to 1 loyalty regardless. Interesting.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Did not expect that.
I would run if I were you.
Did not expect that at all. Okay, we'll break the Mishra's research desk. We'll choose a Fable. End the turn. This is a cool deck. I like it. Could you please take your turn? Sure.
Remember your training.
We'll get rid of it eventually. Save ourselves some life here. He could sweep, so... Alright. Land. Fable. Voltage Surge. We will sack a 1/1. Make a 1/1, kill the AO. What does he get? Let's see. Raffine. That's unfortunate. Alright, so we'll swing here and here. Probably block the hover bike and go down to 2. Or he could eat the token, but he'd go down to 1 loyalty over here. Come on, dude. Like, make a fucking decision. Come on in. Who are you putting the counters on? Sure. Could we just play the game, please? I'm losing all my viewers because they're getting bored of watching you sit around doing nothing. Dude. I don't know what's going on with this guy. But I'm restarting my game. I just don't understand.
I've learned much during my travels. Let me show you.
I just want to play. Destroying an enchantment? Okay. Mind numbing. Just do something.
We've got the edge to this fight.
It is truly riveting. It makes me want to keep streaming. Wait, what is he targeting with it? My Oni-Cult Anvil? And the turn. He's still got Raffine and Demic, which are going to be a pain in the ass, but I think we can pull this one out. Hi. We're playing a game of Magic cards. We'll take the 2. We'll save the Thopter to block when Raffine is bigger. We'll get to scry 1 with Weatherlight. Sweet. That looks nice. Alright, Fable. Urza. Sick. I'm down for that. Chapter 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kill Demic. Next to combat. Swing with this guy. Get a treasure. And offer the trade with Urza. Sick. End the turn. Now we'll chump block Urza with the 1/1. And get another counter on Weatherlight Compleated. Maybe I just let it through because I can kill Urtai if I double up on enough of these. Let's chump Raffine this time so that we don't take too much damage. But let's save our 1/1 so we can double up on Urtai and kill it. Dude, this guy is so fucking annoying. Alright, Scry. Find me something good. I'll take it. Toughness 4/4. Let me think. Voltage surge, speed hover bike. We're going to start with this. I don't think it triggers the Iconoclast because it doesn't count as playing it. Dude, this guy's annoying. I guess you? Let's do that. We've got plenty of interaction in our hand to deal with his board states, so we'll just swing in for 13. For 13. Tap up to one target creature. Sure. Let's see what he tries to exile.
Finally, I'm home.
Or does he just make a 2/2? Tries to exile that. We will second. We will scry and we will leave card advantage on top. No 2 life for you, thank you very much. End the turn. We've got enough treasure to pay for the ward cost, so we'll hover bike and tap the Raffine before he can declare attacks. And that will give us another 1/1 as well.
Remember your training.
Okay. You're gonna let me draw a card? And get a 1/1? Oh, you'll let me get the 1/1 before you killed it? Sick. Pay it with a treasure. My turn. Mechtitan Core! Do you have a counterspell? Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright. It's time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go, Mechtitan Core. Flying, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Haste. And what's sick too is if he kills the Mechtitan Core, we get 2 hover bikes back. Fingon's over here dying of cringe. That's almost worth it on its own. I'll keep this. Xander's loud. Another land loading. Oh, there's a Sulfurous Springs. We can third path Iconoclast. It's probably going to kill it. We don't like it when they kill our things. Not at all. Let him live. Let the poor wizard live. No! Leave the wizard alone! It's not okay. It's not. We will crack the desk. Anvil. Lounge. Looks fine to me. Dragon Engine. Okay. Let's start with synthesizer. That's not good. That is not what I wanted. Plus. Pass the turn. Do we have a synthesizer? Plays a Blood Tithe Harvester. Who plays a Blood Tithe Harvester? Vampires. So last year. Blood Tithe Harvester. 2 of them. Alright then. First thing is first. We're gonna crack this sucker right open. Another synthesizer. Good lord. And a Fable. Do that. Pass turn. Pass the turn. We're gonna hold up the voltage surge. That's what the wizard would do. Not a vampire. A 3rd Blood Tithe Harvester? Who is this man? He's a major hoe. We will kill one of them. The other? I think we'll take the 3. Let's discard you. Let's go like this. it then. We'll go back. And then we'll sacrifice one of the eats to find. What do we want? Let me see, I think we just want another Oni-Cult Anvil. This, we'll get another 1/1. We'll end the turn. All that is left is to deal with that last blood-tired harvester. I think we block with the hoverbike. I think we do. Sure. Discards, gets a hand, it's fine. What now? Crew this hoverbike here. Block here. We'll take 6. Another? Good lord. Good lord. Let's crack this. Get 3 triggers. We must play it. Ooh, cracking a blood token, are we? Alright, we'll swing in for 1. Because we can. Got all the blockers in the world. You should be fine. Alright then, where was I? Gets his Fable. Beautiful Fable. Plays another. That's fine. Simply block with 1, sack it to drain. That seems fine to me. Takenuma? What the hell are you getting? Blood Tithe Harvester again? Good lord. Good lord. Don't know what to tell you. Your turn is over. Thank you, sir. We'll play this. And we will crack this. We'll get boys. So many boys. Ooh, the Weatherlight. Or we could kill his reflection. That might be better. I think we have to do that. I think we have to do that. Swing, swing, swing. Oh yes. Then we'll sack this boy to drain. And we've almost got the game. Hello, Polar Cat Medic. Welcome to the stream. This man here is a major hoe. He's trying to destroy a wizard. You can't destroy a wizard. Major hoe. Major hoe indeed. Your turn. Discard your cards, it's fine. Go on. Go on. This man plays at being a wizard. Knows not what it means. Another Fable. A day late and $1 short, my friend. I don't know how that's going to save you. Blood token. It's fine. It's blood token. No one needs blood. Going for throats. Going for throats. Okay, that's fine. You do you. We'll start with the synthesizer. We'll play an Iconoclast. Then we'll crack the synthesizer. Make 3 little boys. Drain for 1. And get a Fable. Then we will play the Fable. Then we will crew with the Iconoclast. And then we will swing with everything. And I think he's dead. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's dead. Yes, that's the game, Major Ho. So sorry. Alright. Enough of that. Oh, DJ. Can't believe you redeemed it. Kinda meh, but we are on the draw. Alright, that's better. Let's see. Underground River. I think Mechtitan Core is what we want to go with. We just want more artifacts on the field before Yotia Declares War comes down. Urza, Lord High Protector. I want it dead. Which means we need more artifacts in play. Let's just play Fable. Last turn. You can block with the Mechtitan Core pretty easily. Circuit Mender, sure. I may discard a Shivan Reef and a Takenuma. Play out the Haunted Ridge. Let me think. Hover Bike. Tap you down. Hover Bike. March. Sure. Swing 2. Synthesizer. Shivan Reef. Synthesizer. Research Desk. Yotia Declares War. Started on Chapter 2. Do 4 to Urza, Lord Protector. Goodbye. We'll crew here. Swing 2. So why not? Artifact, creatures, and or vehicles. We're so close to Mechtitan Coring. So close. Sure. Alright, we will sack the synthesizer to find something sick. What's up, Grixis leader? Appreciate the kind words. Alright, what do we want? Saheeli. Anvil. Probably Anvil. play the Anvil. We'll crack the synthesizer again. We probably won't get anything we can play, but that's okay. Oh, Saheeli, really? And the turn. We're gonna Mechtitan Core next turn. Oh yeah, we Grixis this thing up. Just for you, buddy. I think we're actually gonna hit this man with the Mechtitan Core. And that makes me so happy. Oh yes. Bandit, chill. Stop scratching. Hey, stop scratching. Chill. Lay down. Oh, here comes the train. I can hear it. Here comes the Mechtitan. That's lame. Lame, 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 lame. Lame, 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 lame. Yeah, this brew's pretty rad. Mechtitan Core is, it's only a one-of in this. It's just a tutor target because we have a Diabolic Intent. So it's like just a thing we can do in alternate win condition that works pretty well with the deck. It's mostly revolving around Iconoclast and Anvil. Get out Iconoclast, get out Anvil. Anvil triggers the Iconoclast. Two of them together make tons of tokens. You do all sorts of shenanigans with all the tokens. Alright, we're gonna try this first. Crack it. We'll get Iconoclast. We'll play Iconoclast. We'll play Yotia Declares War. On Chapter 1. That. Tap that. We will swing. One of them will go after the Emperor, one will hit for 2. And then we will sacrifice this boy. Drain for 1. Oh, we already made a boy. Oopsie. That's okay. That's okay. It's gonna have to have another wipe. So we're going to start like this. Then we're going to sack this to drain for 1. You're gonna march it. We're gonna return it to our hand. We're gonna replay it. Make another 1/1. Get it syncopated, sure. Crew this boy. Swing in for 6. And he's staring down the barrel of lethal. He needs to top deck a white. And I don't think he did. Turn the 0-2 into a 4-4. Yeah, we got him. We've won 6 out of the last 7 games. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. We are pushing hard for that 1,000 subscriber mark, so please consider subscribing. Hit that button. There's a circle in the middle over there. Hit that. Subscribe. Tell all your friends to do it. Thank you. Also, give this video a like so more people can see it. If you'd like more PlayStation and console game coverage, we've got that down below. And if you'd like more Magic the Gathering coverage, there's more of that somewhere off over that way. Do all the things.